Hello everyone, thank you for your patience. Four. 4 times today. My stomach and my guts hate me for some unknown reason. But I'm here now. It's been a while since we've done a publisher opportunity. It's been a case of not getting keys, and then when I did get keys, I was too busy with the course, really. I'll give you some a rundown on what's going on with that at some point during this stream, I'm sure. Need to probably adjust the volume of this game. I'm not hearing it. Oh, I can't adjust the can't like use the mouse or keyboard on this game. It automatically defaults to gamepad. Interesting. Right, okay. Game capture Dynacat. Normally I would get this all set up beforehand, but because I was still on the John like 4 minutes ago. I haven't got this ready yet. I see that the chat is not showing up on the live stream. I will try to do something about that in a sec. Usually the solution is to say, I don't want a web page, I want a local file. And then to go, actually, I changed my mind, I do want a web page. Okay. Sussy. Why's it not displaying the chat? Ah, there we go. Welcome, Jacob Novick. Welcome, Johnny. How's it going? Today we're checking out Dynacat from Replayne. I got a key from keymailer for this game. Thank you very much, Replayne, and thank you very much, keymailer, for the opportunity. Press a button. Press B button. Press X button. Press Y button. Start. Apparently that's all we need. Okay. So, I saw this, and my immediate first impressions of this game was Sonic 3D Blast. And you'll see why I'm getting that impression from it. Like, Sonic 3D Blast was my immediate first thought when I saw this. So, I'm super curious about it. It looked right up my street. And the world isn't gonna... Oh, unlimited health, unlimited... No. We'll have normal. How bad can it be? Language English, 60 frames per second. Yeah, that seems fine. Normal it is. No one's gonna judge me if I'm shit. So I was super curious about this when I saw it. I've been wanting a 3D Blast-like for years. Loving the art style, loving the aesthetic. Loving that we're switching from character model to 2D hand-drawn animation. That giving me, like, immediately Time and Eternity vibes, if anybody's familiar with that game. Dynacat runs automatically in speed mode. Press left or right. Oh. Okay, running on walls. PSVR is getting a PC adapter. Yeah, I saw Jacob. A little bit too late for it to be useful, I would say. When I was in the market of updating my VR headset from a Quest 2, because the PSVR 2 was only compatible with the PlayStation 5, I didn't get it. If I had had the promise then an adapter was coming out, I would have got a PSVR 2. But it's unsupported. Sony, if you're going to support the PSVR 2, why not support the PSVR on PC as well? Then maybe I'll buy one for my PS4. Because I want to play Danganronpa the Class Trial VR, you know? While in speed mode, use a tether on a pole to spin around it. Aha! I like this. Hopefully there's some... Yeah, okay. I was about to say, hopefully there's some actual platforming. And there is. Tether attack, so that's X. Oh, right, homing attack. Okay. Oh, I love the aesthetic of this so much. And this area specifically reminds me of a cross of, like, Sonic 3D Blast's final area, the boss fight, final fight. And there's also, like, a bit of Sonic 1 on the Game Gear and Master System's bonus stages, like, aesthetically in this. It's lovely. It looks like what Sonic Mars on the 32X would have been like if it hadn't have then become Sonic Extreme and ultimately got cancelled. Gaining speed. Gain speed while going down slopes. FNAF Help Wanted 2. Isn't there a flat version of that coming out? I.e. a non-VR version. Oh, I love this. And you've even got like a Sonic-style jump. Boing! Boing! The influence is worn on its sleeve, and that's absolutely not, like... That's nothing to fault. I don't like how I sort of veer to a side when I'm going up a slope. Flat, so what that means is non-VR. So there's a version of Help Wanted coming out that you don't need a VR headset to play. Tether can be used in a variety of other ways. How hard can it be? It's not going to be like Penny's Big Breakaway hard, right? I've probably got this. Yo! Even the world map! Look at this! Tell me this is not Green Grove Zone. Even down to the alliterative level names. Palm Tree Prairie. Don't worry, there's no panic here. Ah, I love this. Xbox, this is available on Xbox and Steam. Some other platforms as well. I think Switch, perhaps? I requested a code for Xbox and I requested a code for Steam. And I ended up getting one for both. Which I was not expecting. I'm playing the Steam version here. For the sake of convenience, I don't think I have the Xbox Series or PS5 plugged up at the moment. Oh, the music here as well is giving me Sonic 3D Blast on... on Saturn vibes. I think it's the piano. Like I'm getting... Getting a good feel for the layout of the stage. I don't think I quite have this game's mechanics down pat yet. But I'm sure I will, eventually. Woo! I want to get in that. I don't think I can hit that from here. Definitely not hitting any speed records today. This momentum-based movement is, like, I'm finding that really tricky to get my head around. Like, if you try to go up a slope, you just veer. And I'm not quite used to that yet. Oh, that's just telling me to jump. Okay. I thought, because it was an A button prompt, that I had to press A there. I'm very confused. So I think I have to go until I've got a... Why am I not gaining... I think I see. I have to go here, then here, down, gain speed, B. Oh, the angle. It's definitely Sonic 3D Blast, because the angle is it's tricky to figure out. Definitely. Physical Xbox games ugly. I kind of get where you're coming from. They're not very nice things to collect in terms of, like, their visual. I'll give you that. I definitely have felt that before, but I've never really put it into words. But yeah, physical Xbox games are kind of ugly. Like, the layout of the logos and things on the boxes, like, the big text saying Xbox One, Xbox Series in one corner, like, taking up tons of space. It seems so easy to lose my speed. Like, I didn't think I would want a Sonic Lost World style run button here, but I kind of do. Oh, come on! I give up. Hey, Meowskovich. Long time no see on the YouTube stream. How's it going? I'm gonna try taking a different route through this stage, I think. Because the other one wasn't working for me. I can't wait for the next Xbox system to be called the Xbox. I'm honestly expecting the next Nintendo system to be called the Super Nintendo Switch. Just settling in after errands. Ah, yes, you did say on X. Still feels wrong. Still feels wrong. You were saying on Twitter, you were gonna go do some errands. Oh, it's one of those games that looks really pretty, but then you struggle with the game's mechanics, and you're like, I just want it to be good, and I don't want to come across as, like, an asshole for not liking it. You know what I mean? Like, it's... There is an episode of that one... I just want it to control like Sonic. Is that what it sounds like I'm saying? I kind of do. I kind of do just want it to play a little bit like Sonic. Oh, come on! Come on! What is this? Hey! That's 2 for 2 on clearly Sonic influenced 3D platformers that are visually really gorgeous that I wanted to like and I can't get into this year. I'm sure I will get more of a feel for this as I go. But yeah, the mechanics of this and the mechanics of Penny's Big Breakaway. It's the whole speed momentum thing. Loose, I would love if this was loose. I would love if this was loose. It's very rigid. Oh, great. I destroyed... Oh, that's alright. They come back. Just trying to get a feel for the whole stage. There we go. I get the feeling you are meant to take this with speed. You're not meant to take 9 minutes to beat the first level. You know, I know what he reminds me of. Any of your motherfuckers like Digimon? Reminds me of what's the name of the cat? Gatomon? Getting such like Gatomon vibes. Yeah, Gatomon. I guess that's bound to happen when you're a big white cat that's got, like, big eyes. Big, beautiful anime eyes. Whee! I beat a level. It's not got the cat claw gloves on. That's true. It has paws. As opposed to paw gloves. Time 40 seconds! Are you fucking kidding me? What? How are you meant to do that in 40 seconds? Whoops. I did it in just over a minute. That's an eighth of the time I took. Well, an attempt was made. Boost, jump, tether. Oh, all you can do is assign buttons. No, like, adjustments for dead zones, stick sensitivity. Hey, Kong! What in the fuck is this? This is Dynacat? And this is a publisher opportunity, so... If y'all could avoid saying, what the fuck is this? Nah, you are entitled to your opinion. Right, I'm fairly confident that I can beat another level. Let's go. Palm Tree Prairie 2. So, that's the thing, Kong. Initial impression was Sonic 3D Blast. So I went into this, my fault, expecting Sonic 3D Blast. I wish this was Sonic 3D Blast. Mechanically, it's gonna take some getting used to. Like, I don't think it's particularly bad. I think it's got, like, a nice flow to it. And I think the more of it I play, the better it's gonna get. But initial impressions where I think misguided because I expected Sonic 3D Blast and it's not. Oh, I can't, like, dash in midair to get away. Oh, shit. YouTube crapping out on you. I don't know what it is about your internet and watching my YouTube streams. It's got to be like a bad ingestion server. There's no running animations because the cat floats. It's a floating cat. At the very least, I will be able to complete stages. But I do not get on with these mechanics at all. Four days left till Summer Games Fest. That's true. 3 days left until OTK Fest? Was it OTK? I'll need to look into it, because I want to cover as many of them as I can. And considering OTK, let me get the list up. Game Showcases 2024. There was I think it was a Games Radar PC Gamer article. OTK Games Expo. OTK Games Expo is an annual video game expo showcasing 30+ video game studios and genres with the OTK crew. On Asmongold's Twitch channel or OTK Network's YouTube. I don't remember the OTK Expo. I think this is new. If they've done one before, I missed it. 2023, let's have a look. Oh, Toxic Crusaders. But I don't remember who are about to die, Turnip Boy robs a bank, Gangs of Sherwood, Slave Zero, Alien Hominid. I don't recognize most of these, so I don't think I watched the event from last year, because I think I would remember Tevi, and I think I would remember seeing new stuff on Agent 64, so I clearly didn't catch it last year. But it looks like they had a good number of games last year. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. They showed 60 games last year. So, I would like to catch that this year. That's 8 p.m. BST on June. I think that works out June 4th for me. Is that tomorrow? I'll have to double check that one. And then there's Guerrilla Collective, which I streamed last year. Is the New Game Plus Expo still active? I don't know what happened to the New Game Plus Expo. The one year that we covered it, it was great. Anyway, back to Dynacat. Oh. I'm very confused. Devolver Digital. I've only ever liked one Devolver Digital conference, and that was the one they did. Like the first one they did, I think. The one that was played kind of straight-faced. Ah. I see. I don't like this mechanic either. I'm very confused. What did that icon mean? That icon was new! Is that Metal Sonic? I get it now. I don't get what that other icon meant, but I get it now. Woo! Okay, they considered that. I was gonna try and die during the boss ending. Desert Gardens. Hey! That's not alliterative! Do you have anything going on the 8th? I have a... When is my job center appointment? As it currently stands, I don't have anything on the 8th. I'm in the job center on the 6th. And I'm hoping that it will be... Here's everything I'm doing, you know. Here's how everything's now falling into place. That's what I'm hoping for. This game screams 3DS. I can see it. The low poly... But 60 frames per second, kind of zoomed out camera angle. I can see what's making you say 3DS with this one. "3DS migraine." It's not that bad. You know, if the mechanics were more my cup of tea, I'd definitely be enjoying it. But at the very least, I can say that the aesthetics are incredible, and the music is fantastic. Hey, ERB and Co. Welcome to Sushi Sunshine. This is Dynacat. A new release from Replayne that is very clearly inspired by specific games in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. But perhaps not what I was looking for mechanically in a game that looks like this. And that is a me problem. That is a me problem. 100% that's a... Ah! I went right past that collectible. Right past that fucking collectible. Well, this is how I would have expected, like, Sonic Mars to have been like, you know? What eventually became Sonic... I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that lying down. 3D platformer tier list. What, like every 3D platformer? That'd be a long tier list. Or do you mean like 3D Sonic platformer tier list? Because in which case, how do you identify a 3D Sonic platformer? Like, would Sonic Rush count as a 3D Sonic platformer because Sonic has a 3D model? Or would that count as a 2D Sonic platformer? If you're saying 3D Sonic platformers, does Sonic 3D Blast count as a 3D Sonic platformer when really it's a 2D Sonic platformer that creates the illusion of 3D? I would love to do some Sonic tier lists. I figure that the best way to go about them would either be to separate them into... Oh my god, that's nasty. Don't do that. That's mean. The correct way to go about it would either be to do 2D Sonic games and then 3D Sonic games, or to do them by decade. So to split it into like 3 parts and do a decade per video. Which is probably the way I'd do it. I'd probably split a Sonic tier list into decades. Starting at F rank is Sonic Adventure 2. Meowskovich! No! It's obviously D rank for Sonic Adventure 2. It does have a Chow Garden. That's worth at least 2 rank points. What am I getting a text for? Oh. I'm live streaming. I'm live streaming. I have to turn my notifications off, and then when somebody's trying to get hold of me for something serious and I forgot to turn my notifications back on... Unleashed. Okay, so... Unleashed is a very flawed game. It's not a bad game. I like Unleashed. It's just, it's a very flawed game. This particular piece of music is reminding me a lot of... Windmill Isle Day from Sonic Unleashed. Definitely Windmill Isle Day. I mean, Sonic Superstars iToy also has a Chow Garden. That's correct. How we do this? F to S, it would be F to S. S would be Supersonic. A is like... I was thinking maybe instead of doing like F to S, what I would actually do is use the rank letters, not the rank letters, but the rank, the move rankings from Sonic Adventure 2. So like, isn't like the top one like called Radical or something? Sonic Adventure 2 move ratings. Combo ratings. Style ranking. So what's the style ranking? So like Sonic Adventure 2, Radical, what was it, Cool? Here we go. Maybe under categories. Okay, so cool, extreme, good, great, nice, perfect, radical, tight. So I'd probably go like perfect, however they work out in the game, and then, you know. So I don't think there's a particularly bad Sonic game. Actually, who am I kidding? Sonic Labyrinth exists. Sonic Worlds wouldn't count because it's a fan game. Sonic R, just off the top of my head, Sonic R would probably be a D. It's not as bad as everyone says it is. I mean, Sonic is meant to feel cumbersome because he's very fast. You know, if you're a first-time player, you really want to be picking Knuckles or Tails, because they have speed, but not at the you don't have to have bad handling. Like, you get good handling and you get speed. $38. Retry available. You told me you have to do nice enough to get a retry. Mania. S. No. I'll level with you. I've beaten Mania the once, I think. I've beaten Mania the once. I'll say the same thing I said when Mania came out, and it upsets lots of people. I got into trouble for saying this on Twitter, but okay. Sonic Mania is a very good fan game. I'd say it's at least as good as Sonic Time Attacked. And it's not necessarily an insult to say that... It's not entirely an insult to say that Sonic Mania is a fan game. If someone says, oh, don't call it a fan game because that has a negative connotation or whatever, or that downplays the quality of it, I would say, Well, that's a you problem, that you hear fan game and you think amateurish. You know? Mania hard. Bits of it, definitely. Definitely bits of Mania are hard. Alright. If I see those enemies, I can't attack them normally. I have to shoot their bullets back at them. Oh my god. At least give me the extra life before I die! I think I would have to count the Sonic Murder game as a Sonic game. In which case, that'll be a fun one for me, because I've never played it. The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Not played it. At least I get my life back each time. Yeah, I think I would have to count the Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog as a Sonic game. It was released by Sega. It is official. So I'd have to count it. Which means I'd have to play it. Oh, come on! It's a good job I like Windmill Isles music. Yeah, I guess my opinion on this game, if I boil it down, is love the aesthetics, love the music, really, really not keen on the mechanics. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't be able to recommend this, if there is a demo of some description. That I would say give that a go, because this is a peculiar one from a feel point of view. Are we counting Sonic 1 version on the at-game Sega Mini? No. I feel like if you're talking about a game and you're saying Sonic the Hedgehog on Mega Drive, right? Then every instance of Sonic the Hedgehog on Mega Drive going forwards would not be counted. So Sonic 1 released on the iPhone would not be counted, and Sonic 1 remastered by Taxman would not be counted, because when you talk about Sonic 1, you would say, this game was re-released on the iPhone, this version. Then again, maybe you would do the mobile Sonics? You would have to be able to provide solid reasoning for why you include some versions of games and not others. Wouldn't you? You would need to be able to provide logic. No, you make a very good point here, because do we count things like Sonic Mega Collection? I think we do. I think we do. But we don't rate all of the games on Sonic Mega Collection, because those are already rated. And if you say, oh, we're not going to rate Sonic Mega Collection, but we're going to rate Sonic the Fighters, Sonic the Fighters was the first time that Sonic... we're not... You know what I mean? Like, Sonic Gems Collection was the first time Sonic the Fighters was made available to people outside of arcades, so it should count. It's a tricky one. Sonic Jam? I guess we'd have to. I guess we'd have to count Sonic Jam, wouldn't we? A Sonic 1 tier list. I'm afraid that that's... Okay, so there's a video by PatMac that goes into every release or port of Sonic 1. That kind of is like a Sonic 1 tier list already, in a sense. And then if you were doing a Sonic 1 tier list, would you be classing... Sonic 1 as downloadable content for Sonic generations in the Xbox 360 or PS3 versions as... Is Shadow the Hedgehog a Sonic game? Yes. Yes, it is. I would be counting that. Sonic Jam, I would be counting not Sonic World in Sonic Jam, but Sonic Jam, and that would count Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, and Sonic World. Ow. Nope, can't hit that. So what's the point? Ah, I see. This does remind me a little bit of the second boss from Sonic 3D Blast, the one from Rusty Ruin. Oh hey, beat it first time that time. Look at me. Sonic Genesis GBA is best Sonic easy. No, that one goes into where? I wrote a review for that game once. And I got some criticism, I got some blowback for this. I wrote a review for Sonic Genesis on GBA, and I gave it a 0.0 out of 10. I don't want to fight the boss again. Gave it a 0.0 out of 10. Play Palace. Oh, come on, this is Spring Stadium Zone. Loving the aesthetic, though. We will get to hear the music, I promise. You know in races where you can get a did not finish, that's what Sonic GBA gets. Yeah. Where's the sense in using the Sonic Advance engine to port Sonic 1? In what world does that seem like a smart idea? I'm hearing in this, it's a KK Slider song from one of the Animal Crossing games. That's what I'm hearing in this. This is... The music! The aesthetics! Oh! This is one of the best looking indie games I've seen in absolute freaking years! God, I wish I liked how it played. I really do. Oh! Sonic N on N-Gauge. S++ rank. Sonic N is one of those cases where I'm pretty sure the N-Gage was ARM processor, right? Like the Game Boy Advance. So basically, the code in Sonic N is identical to the code in Sonic Advance. So it should be, in theory, a perfect port. Because it's running on the same architecture. Do we count Mario and Sonic? I think Mario and Sonic games do count. Because they tend to be Sega developed, not Nintendo developed. But they're quite often Nintendo published. So I think it would be a case of... if I did a Mario tier list and I did a Sonic tier list, I would be able to reuse the segments from the Sonic tier list. So the way I would go about it then is that I would write the segments in a way that I can drop the same segment into a Mario tier list. Even down to classic sound effects that sound right out of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It's beautiful! This is such an aesthetically pleasing video game. I'm in love with the look. I'm in love with the sound. I can't do that bit. James, I tried. Why does that sound really far away? Could also count Marvel vs. Capcom as a Spider-Man game since he's in the game too. So the way I look at it generally is, if you can feasibly argue that it's a game in that series. So let me give you an example. I wouldn't consider Marvel vs. Capcom a Spider-Man game. I would consider that a game with Spider-Man in it. Generally, you expect a Spider-Man game to have Spider-Man in the title, right? Like Mario and Sonic at the Sochi Winter Olympic Games is still a Sonic game because it has Sonic in the name and it features Sonic the Hedgehog. So I wouldn't consider Smash Brothers a Sonic game just because Sonic is in it. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 is a Spider-Man game, though. No, it's not. It's a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game with Spider-Man in it. Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 1 is not a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game because Spider-Man says, "Hey, Tony Hawk, I used to skate with that guy." Doesn't make it a Tony Hawk game. Like, I would consider... Now, you see, that's the thing. That's where my argument now falls apart, because Knuckles Chaotix doesn't... It does. Admittedly, it doesn't feature Sonic as playable. And it doesn't have Sonic in the title. However, Knuckles doesn't have his own Knuckles sub-series of video games. and Sonic does appear in the game on the credits. It is essentially a Sonic game because other Sonic characters appear in it. Tails also appears in the game's credits. And Amy Rose appears on the game's sound test. Therefore, it would make Knuckles Chaotix a Sonic game. Sonic is just there, just how Spider-Man is just there in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. But Spider-Man isn't a character in the life of Tony Hawk. Well, one could argue he is. God, this is really complicated. Every tier list I've done so far, it's like, it's completely easy to say something is a something, right? All the Paw Patrol games I covered are Paw Patrol games because they have Paw Patrol in the title and they feature the Paw Patrol. That's, like, really simple. But once it gets to Sonic, it's a little bit more complicated, isn't it? Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 is not a Wolverine game. Just because Wolverine appears in it does not make it a Wolverine game. Well, by that logic then, Kong, like, several Tony Hawk games are Star Wars games. Because Jango Fett is in, like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. I don't feel comfortable saying Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is a Star Wars game. Then again, many years ago, I was working on a Tekken retrospective, and I mentioned Soul Calibur 2. But then again, my Tekken retrospective also featured Virtua Fighter 2, so I wasn't bound by any rules. I don't know what this game needs for me to feel comfortable with it. It's kind of hard to put into words what it is about the mechanics that feel off to me. Because a certain amount of it is intended game design, and the last thing I would do is go to a game developer and tell them, your game's broken, when it's a matter of their game design. Certain features are the way they are because that is intended design. That is not bad, and the developer should not be expected to change it. Just because someone on the internet doesn't like it. It's a tricky one to put into words, just exactly what it is about this. But I guess in the words of the pizza trolls from Zoombinis, there's something on this I don't like. But unlike the pizza trolls from Zoombinis, I can eat a pizza that's got something I don't like on it. Astrobot tier list. That would require I have PSVR though, wouldn't it? I'm not against doing a tier list for a video game franchise that has 3 games. I'm not against that. I could do a tier list for a series that has 3 games. I've done a tier list for a series with 5 games. I've done a tier list for a series with like 4 games, but multiple different versions of those 4 games. I started a Smurfs one, but it ended up becoming really daunting to complete. Excuse me? Excuse me? For an Astro tier list, they're all S rank. I wouldn't be able to say with any certainty. Because I haven't played the PSVR title. I mean, it's pretty clear that Astrobot for PS5 is going to be, you know, the new one is going to be an S rank. That's pretty obvious. Oh great, it's the boss from Sonic CD, except now it's even more annoying, because as soon as you fall, you get your ass kicked. No! No! I have to hit all 3 again? I have to hit all 3 again? What this game strikes me as being like is when someone develops their own video game, they understand all the mechanics perfectly. They can blitz through every stage in 25 to 30 seconds. They understand all the mechanics. They're like, wow, this game I made is really breezy and easy and comfortable to play. So they tailor the difficulty to what they can do, but because they're the developer of the title, they have that skill level. So then the player who's completely new to it feels completely lost with the mechanics and the difficulty. What people often refer to as ROM hack difficulty. Like, let me give you an example with this, right? It's bad enough if you fall, you take damage. Okay? It's bad enough you've got thingies that move across the arena. It's bad enough, oh, I'm gonna have to jump there to avoid getting hit. That's bad enough. But let's add spiked, like, saw blades to the arena as well as having it on a timer to attack the boss. So I got 1 hit in that time. Shit. Ah, no. So now I have to make sure I don't hit those giant circular saw blades, right? In the time it took me to get back up, I ran out of time to attack the boss. Like, do we really need all those things down the bottom? Do we really need those? We do not need those! Seriously, that's Saw Blade! Great, the shield's gone. Now I have to hit like 4 things. 4 things again. It's like, it's lost its fun. It's just a stress. Great. Please let me hit it twice. Thank you! Idea ERB, a game with the difficulty change in terms of skill level, and if you come back to the game after a long break, the game adjusts itself. That's a nice idea. There's something similar to that in Pure on Xbox 360 and PS3, but instead the difficulty is tailored to how well you're doing overall. So the easiest way to get better at the game is to go back to the first race and fail 5 times to knock the difficulty scaling right back down to piss easy. And it is a valid tactic in Pure. Maybe at some point soon we'll do Pure on 360 degrees. Because I want to know if it's as good as I remember. I'm seeing sentiment in my chat that this game sucks. I don't think that's fair. The gameplay is definitely not my cup of tea. But the game's aesthetics and music are definitely good. To the point where I wouldn't describe this as it sucks. But I would say there's something on this I don't like. You know? Which is fine. It just means that it's difficult for me to recommend because it doesn't gel with me personally. Occasionally a game comes along that you wish you liked because everything about it ticks a box for you. And it's just a shame that we've had 2 of those this year for me. We've had Billy's Bust Up, which, you know, ticked every box for me and then did not appeal to me gameplay-wise. And then there's this, again, that ticks every box for me and just the gameplay doesn't do it for me. Like, this level in particular has felt really good compared to, like, every other level so far. I guess this level feels a bit more normal, a bit more... Dare I say it, this level looks a bit more Sonic-y. Feels a bit more Sonic-y. What might change about it to have the last box ticked? That is a very good question. At the risk of sounding like an asshole, the entire physics and playstyle needs to change. Basically. This needs to feel more like a Sonic game for me to get anything out of it. It needs to feel more like a platformer. And I know it's difficult to put into words exactly what that might entail, because it's such a sort of nebulous term, isn't it? You know, by all intents and purposes, this is a platformer right now. So it's kind of hard to put into words exactly. What are the general opinions on Sonic 3D Blast around here? I really like Sonic 3D Blast. I always have. I think in part that was because it was one of the only games I had on Mega Drive as a child that was like my game. My parents bought it for me, so it held a very special place in my heart. Over the years, I have come to dislike the game's developer, but my opinions on John Warburton aside, because, you know, Warburton's like stale bread. John Warburton. Opinions on John Burton aside, I like Sonic 3D Blast very much. I like the Saturn version, and I like the Mega Drive version. I am not a fan of the PC version. I think the PC version special stages are bad. I think the PC version feels more like an afterthought. Even more than the Saturn version does. Yay! I fell. Without defeat. Oh God. It's like, now which version had the better soundtrack? Oh, don't do this to me! Okay, so in terms of memorable tunes / melodies, because I am going to separate these, in terms of melodies, Mega Drive. That Jun Sunue soundtrack is incredible. But I really do like a couple of zones from the Saturn version. I like Green Grove Zone, and I like Rusty Ruin Zone. I like Rusty Ruin Zone because it's basically Enya. It's basically an Enya song. But no, Mega Drive, because Mega Drive has Volcano Valley, Panic Puppet, which was reused for Sonic Adventure, the Green Grove Zone track that was reused for Sonic Adventure. Oh my God. I just feel like the Mega Drive version has more memorable tracks and melodies overall. You've got that amazing credits theme. Was that a platform? That was a platform. Why am I trying to do this the hard way? Mega Drive has that amazing credits theme. Mega Drive has 2 boss battle themes, both of which are fantastic. If you need help with the controls, try revisiting the tutorial stage. I'm curious what like the Venn diagram of like people who play this and people who don't like the controls and gameplay style. Like, I'm wondering what that intersection is like. How many people? Because I can't be the only person that is playing this and thinks, God, I wish this felt different. Wish the character had animations. You know, Kong's been saying the exact same thing as well. Like, there is a certain, like, sense of floatiness to this, and the character not having, like, a running animation doesn't help that. But that could also simply be because, you know, the character is a cat that floats, and that's just who the character is. It's got me thinking what an actual successor to Sonic 3D Blast would actually feel like. And if there's anyone out there that's willing to make that. But no, I don't want to be the person that plays this title from Replayne, and then all they do is complain. There is genuinely a lot to love about this, and I don't want to come across a jerk. So it's a tricky one for me. I don't want to... I want to be seen giving this a fair shake, basically. And sometimes that's a little bit tricky to achieve when a game doesn't gel with you. Because it's one of the hardest things in the world to explain, you know, why a game doesn't gel with you. You know? If a game just has bad controls, you can say it has bad controls. And to a certain extent, people will understand what you mean. Of course, you will need to explain yourself when you say a game has bad controls. But generally speaking, you know, if two people play Zelda, Link the Faces of Evil, Zelda the Wand of Gamelon, right? People are going to say that game has bad controls. Two people are going to say that game has bad controls because it is generally understood that the controls in that game are bad based on the way they feel. This doesn't have bad controls. And to argue that a game has bad mechanics, well, that's always a matter of like personal taste, subjectivity, right? People who set out to make the next CDI Zeldas, there's got to be someone out there that loves Sonic 3D Blast. Yeah, potentially. Maybe that'll be me. Maybe I'll finally open up a Unity or Unreal Engine tutorial and pull my finger out and develop my first game in like 15 years. I wish I had a lot of my old games, because I used to enjoy tinkering. I need to know if there's anything like Games Factory nowadays. I think there's Click Team Fusion, which is much the same as Games Factory. Hit me up for music. Good to know. Godot. So yeah, people are using Godot nowadays. For a brief moment, Kong was using Godot. Whatever happened to that lizard game? If you're still here, Kong, what happened to that lizard game? Did that get cancelled? Game Maker, yeah, it's... I know 3D can be done in Game Maker because I've seen it done. There's a couple of fairly decent 3D Sonic fan games that use Game Maker. I've basically got two game ideas that I'm sitting on. One is like the 3D magnum opus that, you know, I'm probably never going to get to make. The other one is a dungeon crawler RPG, because I hate dungeon crawlers. I fucking despise dungeon crawlers. So I figure the best way to make a dungeon crawler I like would be to make my own dungeon crawl. So I've got a concept that I am still working on. I was working on it in the shower today. Oh. Why does it look like I can use the wind to float upwards? This is also very similar to two separate bosses in Sonic 3D Blast. Oh, I see. Why don't you come over here, asshole? Ah, I see. This is a boss that has changed its mechanic. I like it. This boss fight is fun because it forces me to learn and adapt to a new mechanic very quickly. There's a boss in Sonic 3D Blast, I think it's the second boss, that requires you to essentially figure out that you can jump on, like, moving parts of the boss and use that to get around. Okay, it may sound like I'm trying to sing the praises of the game randomly, or I'm trying to, like, suck its cock or whatever. But hear me out. A boss changing its behavior so drastically in this game, and it working? Dare I say miraculous? Oh, come on! There we go. The lack of character animation makes it feel like Sonic, like Pokemon 3D Rumble. Pokemon Rumble. Yeah, I can see it. I think it's like the shape of this arena as well. The ice is being melted by ice air. Oh, is this what I'm up against today? Replayne, let it be known that I've tried my very best to be kind to this title. It is my viewers that are being a bit more ruthless. To be fair, that's the ruthlessness that I usually have. Hello, City Escape. You reminded me of those memes that's like, died 2001, reborn 2024, welcome back City Escape. No. That's one. Choco Cafe. Oh, that's so cute. Get up there. Yo, where's the music going? Gonna go up there. You're gonna consider it. Oh, there's a path this way. I'm gonna take this path. Oh, one up. Nice. Balls. Get my one up. Get my life back. Make that same mistake twice. Oh! Thank you. Here's the thing, right? I feel like I'm the one that doesn't get it. Allow me to explain. Right? I've got a game here that I genuinely dig the level design, the aesthetics, the character model, the music. And it is clearly a game made with great talent. The person making this game obviously isn't someone incompetent. It's someone who's incredibly competent. So therefore, there must be something about this I don't get. And that's what's driving me mad about it. Is I don't get what I'm doing wrong. Like, I can't say for certain that there's anything wrong with this game. Because I don't completely understand it. It's kind of hard to describe the feeling, but it's not quite emasculation, but it's... Nevertheless, I feel like I need to hand over my gaming credentials. Because I just don't get it. This is like the equivalent of... So... It's not quite the same, but in the past I've sang the praises of a game called Okage, released for the PlayStation 2. And what I said about Okage back when I reviewed it on Sushi Bites, I said, this is not a game you play for its gameplay, it's a game that you play for its characters and story. And I received criticism for that statement, because for what other reason do you play a game than its gameplay? You know, if a game has particularly bad gameplay, or gameplay that doesn't gel with you, I guess in the case of this, what reason is there to play the game if, you know, the game doesn't gel? And in the case of Okage, it's for its characterization, writing, script, music. Like, all that stuff that is extra to a video game is why I recommend Okage. But I was told if the game's not fun, what's the point in playing it? And to a certain extent that is true. I guess in the case of Okage, my argument was that the character's story and soundtrack were so good that you would put up with the gameplay being dog shit because the characters were so entertaining and the writing was so good and the music was so good. Is this a game where I can recommend you play it even if it doesn't gel with you? I don't think I can make that recommendation because I don't fully understand the gameplay of this title, like, mechanically. I could be recommending people something that's bad. I could be recommending people something that's good. And I wouldn't know because I don't fully understand it myself. So all I can say is I hope there's some kind of demo for this title. Because my recommendation would 100% be to play that, if there is one, before committing. You know what? I'm not ready for that conversation, Meowskovich, but you're right. There are moments when Donkey Kong Country's gameplay is solid. In levels where you can go, you know, roll into jump into roll into roll into jump into roll into jump, you know. Yeah. Maybe in stages like that the gameplay is good, but there is so much of Donkey Kong Country 1 that is difficult to recommend. DKC2, DKC3, DKC1. I could see that. Where do the land titles slot into that? For me, it's DKC2, DKL2, DKC... DKL3 / the Game Boy Color one. Then I must say I like DKL, and then DKC, then DKC3. I'm one of those people who hasn't given DKC3 much of a chance in the past, so... There are moments where you need to take your fingers off the analog stick in this game. DKCR is a separate series. I wouldn't count it as a separate series if I was doing, like, a Donkey Kong tier list. They are just as much a Donkey Kong... Well, I guess it would be a Donkey Kong... If you were separating Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country, I'm afraid it would be a Donkey Kong Country game, because even though it doesn't fit the aesthetic as the Donkey Kong Country... gameplay, rather, it doesn't... It has the Donkey Kong Country name, even if it is not a Donkey Kong Country game at heart. Otherwise, you can make any excuse for any game not being on a tier list. You could say, oh, I'm not going to include Sonic CD in a Sonic the Hedgehog tier list because it was made in Japan by only half of Sonic Team, when the skilled half went to work on Sonic 2. When, in my opinion, Sonic CD is a much better game than Sonic 2. Hey, Inuyuki Hakusho! Without anybody saying anything about this title, Inu, what does this game remind you of? Don't worry, I'm not making an example of you. Just, like, aesthetically, music-wise, like, what does it remind you of? D-rank. Sphere on red. Yay. Hey, a more sort of standard platforming style boss. Oh, man. Oh! Spoke too soon, yeah. See, there is a visual guide where... fuck me dead! Snuff the goddamn life out of me. Right. No! So close! So close! Yeah, speedrun strats! Yeah! Suck my dick! Basalt Barrens. We've reached the beige stage. Sorry, I'm not into you that way. Understandable. Have a nice day. If you find anyone who is, let me know. Oh no. Got it. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Now I see why this game has an easy mode. I wanna go to bed. At the very least, I want to see as much of this game as I can in, like, the space of just under 2 hours. Now, admittedly, due to my skill level, that's not going to be very much of the game. But I'm playing this for its aesthetics and its soundtrack at this point. Like, in terms of the gameplay, I don't get it. I'm bounding around, I'm taking idiot damage, you know? Almost 2 hours. I expect maybe with the end of this stage I'll bring this coverage to a stop. I feel like my tiredness with this game's mechanics is going to result in me saying something I'm glad we held on. I'm glad we hung on. That was glorious. At the very least, I can say thank you very much, Dev, for not punishing me for falling out of bounds. Like so many developers are wont to do. Thank you for not punishing me for it. The real question is, can I pull that off again? What did I even do? No, Meowskovich, no! That was one stream of Call of the Wild, and I apologized profusely after it happened. So where did that happen? It's like in one of the walls here, wasn't it? Where'd that come from? I didn't see that. Oh, come on! Why am I going up in the air like that? There has to be a reason for that. Oh. How far back has that sent me? Oh. Tunnel. Ah, I get it now. I get it now. I get it now. Core gameplay mechanic I should have understood an hour and 40 minutes ago. I understand now. Am I stuck here? Oh, there is a little escape. That doesn't... There we go. Whee! Okay. I'm ready to give my verdict. AKA, I don't want to play this anymore. So I'm going to share my thoughts. In terms of, like, this game's aesthetic, style, soundtrack, graphics, fucking love it. Like, all of that, presentation, love it. This is such a strong game in terms of identity. I can totally see what Replayne are going for, and it's fantastic. However, I completely do not have a grasp on the game's mechanics. I'm worried that I might not get a grasp on the game's mechanics, but there is a tutorial stage, I believe, I can load up at any time. So there is a tutorial to explain the game's mechanics. I'm sure that with enough practice, I'll get it. And I'll understand it. But it does also feel like developer difficulty. I.e., the developer understands their game extremely well because they're the one who made it. But maybe it will all boil down to practice. Practicing the game's mechanics. playing earlier stages over to kind of get a feel for how the game plays, and maybe eventually it'll gel with me. Maybe eventually. But right now, it does not gel with me, and I really, 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 really wish it did. But again, that could entirely be a me thing. I don't want to turn around and say, this game is bad because I don't understand it. Because that would be the wrong way to look at it. It would be, I had a bad time with this game because I did not understand it. And to say I had a bad time with this game is not necessarily true. I've played things that have pissed me off far more, that have upset me far more than this. Maybe at some point in the future I'll come back to this in my own time, give it a little bit more of a go, and see if it gels with me, maybe on a day where I'm like a bit more with it, I'm a bit more awake. Maybe there'll be a day where it'll just sort of click, and then I'll get it, and I'll understand it. I don't think this is a bad game. I think this is a very specific game, and if there is a demo available, I would recommend giving that a go first before purchasing. Or I guess if you're going to play this on Steam, you've got that refund window. Because I want to recommend this, but because I do not fully understand it, I can't recommend it. But that also doesn't mean it's bad, if you get where I'm coming from. Right. Thank you very much for coming. Until next time, if we live that long, take care.